falling into a pattern of something that you feel is a cycle, that it doesn't feel good, and you know it doesn't feel good, but you kind of just keep showing up and keep doing the same things over and over again.
Welcome back to the Travsessed podcast. We're your hosts, Kim and Aaron, and in this episode, we're going to be talking to you about ruts, and we are currently in one.
Yeah, this podcast is actually, we were going to do something else. I had some questions and some fun stuff we were going to do, and then we are kind of going through this ourselves, and we woke up this morning, we spent the last couple of days in New York City, and we just got home yesterday, and we were talking this morning trying to regroup, and we were having a meeting of okay, we got to get back on track. And this conversation inspired this episode of hey, we should talk about this on the podcast, because I feel a lot of people probably feel similar. And so here we are. Now we're doing it.
Let's do it.
Before we get into the episode, I wanted to just talk about something really fun and really exciting that we wanted to share with you guys. MedVenture Camp.
Oh, yeah.
So MedVenture, if you don't know, it was an app that was created by travel nurses, and it's basically a meet-up app.
Community.
Yeah, finding community, finding friends, people lead meetups hiking or dinners or all kinds of cool things, but it's just focused on healthcare travelers. And I think it's absolutely genius, and it's allowing you to connect with other people other travelers that you may not even know are around you.
Mm-hmm.
And so they created this app. Love them. Shout out to Emily and Ryan, who are also friends of ours and who we love. And they, next year, are creating a camp.
Yeah.
It's an adult sleepaway camp.
An adult summer camp.
Yeah, basically. It's 3 days. And it's at this huge camp in Pennsylvania. And there's going to be all different kinds of activities. And so cool things to do, fun activities, and just kind of travelers coming together to share these 3 days together. There's wellness workshops. There's just all kinds of cool things. And Aaron and I, Travsessed, is sponsoring karaoke night.
Oh my gosh.
Which I'm really excited about.
I'm excited, but nervous.
Well, I'm terrified.
Well, because I love karaoke, but I'm not the guy that goes to karaoke bars and jumps up there and sings. So I like watching other people just tear it up and live their best life and channel their inner whoever it is.
You and I do karaoke together, drinking tequila alone with Mimi as our audience,
right,
and we kill it.
But we also might sing the chorus. We're not singing the whole song.
Right,
you know?
That's what I'm saying. That's the extent of our we love karaoke, but that's our extent as performing the karaoke.
Right, behind closed doors.
Right. So, but we love it and it's fun. It'll kind of be the end of the camp experience. So we thought if we're going to sponsor anything and kind of bring people together, let's do the karaoke night. We're going to start it off with a little routine of our own.
Which we have to plan.
Which we say that, but
who knows?
Well, yeah. But anyways, we wanted to share it with you guys in case you haven't heard about it yet. It is going to be June, I think it's the 9th through the 12th of next year. Mm-hmm. We're going to be there, and it's going to be so much fun. And if you want to get together with a group of travelers for a couple of days away to just do all the campy things.
Yeah, I mean, I love what it's all about and all the travelers joining, but I would love to see a lot of the Travsessed community there.
That's what I mean. Yeah,
that would be really cool.
Our people, how fun would that be? All of us at camp together, doing all the things. So if you want to check it out, I am trying to look at the link. I forget. I'll put it in the show notes. So you can go to whatever the link is in the show notes, and then that will tell you.
Or the MedVenture app. I mean, you can go there and learn about it too.
That's true. Sorry, she had sent me the thing. Anyways, I can't find the link, but okay. I'll put it in the show notes. Head over to the MedVenture app and check it out, and hopefully we'll see you guys there.
Please prepare for departure.
Okay, ruts.
Fucking ruts.
If this was a true rut podcast, I think we would just sit here in silence. You know?
Why?
Well, because a rut is just not being motivated to do the things that you're there to do. Right?
Yeah.
Is that your definition of rut?
I think a rut is falling into a pattern of something that you feel is a cycle, that it doesn't feel good, and you know it doesn't feel good, but you kind of just keep showing up and keep doing the same things over and over again because you're not really ready to come out of it, or you don't know how to come out of it, and you kind of just get comfortable in this normal pattern that you've created, and it almost feels like a stuckness to me, and it takes more effort to get yourself out of it than it does to just kind of stay in it.
So do you think it's more than just a choice?
No, I think it's a choice, 100%.
Okay. I was wondering about that because I'm like processing this as we're going as well, with like having the conversation around it, other than the conversation we had this morning of just like, is it a choice, or is there like a physical thing that's like there? Or is it all just, I make a choice, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm changing the game?
I think it's a choice, but I think there's a lot of factors that play into that, right? So, like, what do we become in ruts with? We get into ruts with our physical health, with our relationships, with like routines that we've set up for ourselves that are, whatever.
Habits.
Yeah. We get into these things that kind of just become normal and routine. Mm-hmm. But you kind of know it's not what you want to do, right? So even like use a relationship as an example, because I feel like people hear that a lot. Like, you're kind of in a rut with your relationship. You kind of are doing the same thing and you want to switch it up. You want to bring more like sparkle or spice back in and like switch things up a little bit, but you don't know how, and you're kind of just in this, well, it's our normal, it's easy. We've kind of just fallen into this place, and it almost takes more effort, more thought, more choice, more doing to get yourself out of it than it does to kind of just stay into it. I'll do it next week. And you kind of just get into this cycle, and then before you know it, it's just part of the routine, and it takes a lot more to dig yourself out of that and to change those patterns. You know what I mean?
Yeah, totally. And I think that's where I think the thought process too was, getting into our story here in a little bit, but just the focus mentality. I was thinking back when we were having the conversation this morning of like, what even took me into this, right? Like what door did I walk through to get to this? And it was thinking back of when we started this contract and the choice that I made in my mind of what it was that was a successful day, defining what a successful day was to me. And that definition was skewed, and it got me down this pattern of where we are now, which then we started talking about we're in a rut that we both don't feel lit up about.
Right. And I think too, a rut, especially this time of year, and we were talking about this at our gym because the classes have been so empty.
Yeah.
And that becomes a theme this time of year where, people kind of fall off of their healthy routine. So say working out, eating healthy, all the things that we do to feel good. This, like with the parties, and there's more drinking, there's more gatherings, food, there's eating, there's all the things. You kind of slowly start to, I'm going to cancel this class, I'm not going to show up here. And then it's like that cycle takes over where before you know it, you're like, well, I've already missed this day. I'm not going to be able to do this day. Why am I even going to go today? You kind of just get into this routine of like, when you feel like shit, you kind of just stay in it. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It becomes like that vicious cycle of like, I already don't feel my best. Might as well just kind of keep it up because I'm going to start on the new year. Totally. Everybody says that. After the new year, I'm going to like pick up my game and I'm going to do all the things that I want to do and get back on track. But I'm just going to make it through the holidays. And then you kind of just go down this like dark hole that you get so deep in. You know what I mean? Totally.
And I think just to elaborate on what you're saying there's nothing wrong with that until you reach that point.
That you feel
bad, right? Like, I don't think there's anything wrong with like busting your ass all the way through, Thanksgiving and then being like, you know what? Like, I've worked hard all year. I'm going to take the rest of the year off and do nothing. And if that feels good to you, then that's fine. What we're talking about is those ruts when your brain and your body are telling you this is not working.
Right. I'm glad you said that because, I agree. There's nothing, we all, like a rut is subjective, right? It's like you know, what we consider a rut might be normal for somebody else. So I think that, that's not...
Or elite to somebody else.
The point. I think it's the point that when you feel it within your own self that you don't feel your best, and you know that you're not showing up and performing in a way that feels good to you, and you notice that something's off and you notice you're out of alignment, that is when you recognize, hey, I'm kind of in this funky place right now. That's the thing.
Okay. So let's get into our rut.
Okay, because I was just trying to think too. Go ahead.
Well, I think obviously the what started, right, is I started this contract. We had a focus. We got back from our, long stint of travel, and we were like, let's get a contract. Let's make a bunch of extra money. Let's focus on the business, and that's what we need, is a contract to focus. And I think what happened was, is I started to set this mindset that I've got to get through work, and once I get through work, that's a successful day, because that's what I'm here to do. Because we realized that Kim taking a contract would have been too much for us, so she's focusing on the business, on Travsessed, and she's doing an exceptional job, and my focus was to just get through work. And so then it became to where we've realized that every single night I get off, we might go live, or we might do something. We've been doing a good job, and I think that's going to come up through the whole thing, is like, we're not as lazy or ready as we think, but it's just not to our standard. And I think what we've realized is we've been zoning out every single night with 5 to 4 hours of TV, not talking, kind of zoning out. We'll eat dinner, watch a show, and then Kim will go in the room and read or watch her shows, and I'll sit on the couch until 11 p.m. and watch TV. And that just isn't feeling good.
Yeah, we go through phases with this, right? And we all kind of have our go-to things of what we do to kind of check out,
crutches.
Right? Like some people, might have wine every night, and they realize, wow, I've been doing this like every night, or again, nothing wrong with that. But if it feels kind of off for you, or you're like, damn, I'm doing this every night. Because again, everything in quote unquote moderation is okay. It's when it starts to take over where you're noticing, okay, I'm kind of like why am I doing this all the time? Why am I feeling the need to check out all the time? What's up? Like, what's going on? For me, watching TV is something I do when I want to check out. Like, that is my go-to thing. I want to zone out. I don't feel like thinking. I don't feel like talking. I don't feel like getting back to anyone or having a list of things to do. I just want to escape into a show, into a movie, into something that allows me to just get out of my own mind for a little bit. And so I know for myself, when I start to consume a lot of TV, because usually we have like our go-to shows that we'll watch sometimes, like Sunday night's a night that we always watch TV or a movie or something. But when we start to do it like every night, that I'm like, I don't feel like doing this, I'm just gonna go watch my show. That's where it feels like, to me, I'm like, what's up? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
It makes me feel like shit, honestly.
Totally. I referred to it as turning up the volume on the TV to mute the rest of life. Mm-hmm. And what I noticed when I started noticing it to be a pattern was when you and I were having a conversation of, we had no idea what to watch, but we would just watch something just to watch something. It. And that's where it's like, it used to be exciting. We would have these shows, we would watch an episode, and then we would, kind of do our own thing. Maybe it was read or listen to a book or talk or work on something. It just became, let's just watch another episode. Let's find something else. Let's watch another movie, right? Because we wanted to stay in that. And that started to feel heavy.
Yeah. Yeah.
And knowing that I haven't done jack shit every day I get off work.
And I think the thing is, right, that's, again, there's nothing, like, I absolutely love days. Because again, we don't have kids, like, it's just us. We can do whatever we want as long as Mimi's taken care of, right? So one of my favorite kinds of days is when we're like, we're just going to be lazy today. Maybe we'll wake up, we'll listen to a podcast, we'll talk, and then let's maybe watch some movies, order a pizza. Like, I love those kinds of days. Like, those are so fun. But when they're few and far between, you enjoy them. It's exciting. It feels fun. When you're doing that a lot, that's when it starts, like, when that becomes the new normal, that's when it starts to creep in, at least for me, and start to feel like, oof, okay, I'm just feeling lazy. I'm trying to check out. And, you know, for you, like, you go to work every day for 10 hours. And like we said, this is kind of how it all started, right? Because you're exhausted by the time you get home. It's not like you want to come home and like gear up to do a bunch of stuff and be creative. Like you've used like all the energy you have. And for me, I work all day on Travsessed, so it's almost like I feel great. And then you come home, we have dinner, and then I'm kind of feeding off your energy. And then we end up just like, and again, Firefly Lane and what's the other show? Dead to Me. Like all these shows came back out that we love. So we started like
Jack Ryan.
We started like binging, which is what we do because we get excited and then we just keep binging. So it kind of started there, but it was like you would just come home and we would talk a little bit, but you're so tired that we would just put on the TV and zone out. And that became the routine almost every night where you're just like, okay, what the fuck is going on?
Right. Well, no, and I think, too, another way to define it is, does your constant patterns get you closer to the goals you're trying to achieve in life, or do they set you back? Because, again, like we said, ruts are, what'd you say the word? Like subjective.
Yeah.
Right? Everybody's rut is different. If you're not trying to run your own business and you just work all day, and your joy is to come home with your family and eat popcorn and watch TV, and that feels good to you, then that's not a rut. That's a rut for us because we have to utilize the time that we have to keep elevating our business other than going to work. So that's where this rut of watching 5 to 6 hours of TV a night.
It's not that much.
Well, if you look at it, I come home at 6:30, we eat until about 7:30, and then from 7:30 to 11, I watch TV.
That's true, because I usually will go in the room and read and go to bed.
You go at 9.
Yeah.
That's like 4 hours of TV for me per night.
That's crazy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. And so that's like, and I know, and the reason is these ruts are coming up is I'm also sitting there where Saturdays and Sundays are starting to stack up with things that I need to get done, and I don't have the bandwidth to get those done either. So it's just turned into this constant lazy pattern rut of just like kind of what you said with the gym. Well, you know, I have all this stuff to do. Where do I even begin? It's just easier to just revert back into the pattern of like, oh, well, I'll figure it out some other time. And then next thing you know, 3 months goes by and you're still in the same spot.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's easy. I mean, like we said, it's just like when you like, even we do this a lot too, or, you know, people and that we know like in the gym, right? I feel like a lot of people have this kind of mentality that if you know, say you're like, okay, on January 2nd, I'm going to, you know, really switch things up and like get back on track. It's almost like, well, until January 2nd, I'm just going to go balls to the wall and just like eat whatever I want and do whatever I want and just get crazy because I know on January 2nd, like I'm going to, you know, and so it's like you almost just go down even harder. It's extreme. We do this. Like maybe other people don't, but I feel like we can be very extreme with that. Yeah. Right? Where we're like, we're going to go hard, so let's just completely go wild right now.
All the things that I want, I'm getting. And like just, you know, like I ate a bag of Trolleys last night. Like what?
I ate a bag of Reese's Pieces. Like, no, I ate the whole thing.
A family size bag.
Yeah. Yeah. They're so good.
They are.
Like,
I contributed to that.
Well, I gave you a handful, and I ate
and I had a handful while I was cooking.
Lies. You didn't tell me this. Okay, so I feel better about myself. So I did not eat the entire bag. Plus, they're very small. Like, I mean, there's only a couple of handfuls. Okay. No. But I think, like, the whole point of this is just that it's okay to kind of to get off course a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
And
it's life.
It's in giving ourselves grace. And I think that's what we were talking about this morning of okay, what's up? Mm-hmm. What are our priorities? What do we want to focus on? How do we want to feel? Like, who do we want to be? Like, I don't want to be somebody who just zones out all the time and watches TV because I don't feel my best. And that's just a fact. So it was like, okay, let's pivot. Let's reframe this. And let's get back on track and do the things that we really want to do and do the things that help us feel our best. And it's just having that awareness around it first, because I think you have to kind of like
diagnose the problem.
Click into like, okay, I'm off course right now. What do I need to do to pivot to get back to what makes me feel good? Mm-hmm. And then kind of create a plan to help you get there. And that's what we did this morning. Figured out what was going on, wanted to make a change, chose to say, okay, let's turn this around, because we could keep going and going and going, or let's just turn it around right now. Like, we can do that.
Totally.
And that's what we did. And like, let's get a plan to get us out of this and feeling better.
Totally. And I think too, when we went to New York this weekend, it was filled with all the Christmas stuff. It was phenomenal. It was a dream of ours. It was what we've always wanted to do. And we went into it with a total vacation mindset, which was nice. We haven't done that in a long time. There's always like, maybe we need to answer these emails. We need to get back. We need to do something.
Yeah.
And it was like, no, we're not doing that. We're just totally embracing the moment and being present in where we are. And that
Together.
was like so much fun. I will say, we did have a lunch with a friend of ours, Goldie, and we've always talked about changing our mindset and, you know, having, like, when we do fall in these ruts and patterns and things like that. And she had this really scientific way of explaining like neural pathways. And for some reason that has like stuck out to me so loudly that I think I'm just kind of one of those visual people that needs, I can hear the things, but until I have a visual concept of like how things work, that's what really sticks. And the whole thing of her explaining like how our brains are built to be efficient and not like hard. It's like it takes the efficient path, and those neural pathways have to create new pathways. And when things are new, that's why it feels hard, because those neural pathways have to be created physically by like electricity connecting, and then the old ones go away, and it's like all these things. And I was just like, I could see it happening, and understanding like where I'm at now and the feeling that I have now. We're sitting here talking, and I'm thinking to myself, dude, I really just want to sit on the couch and watch TV. Like currently, like as we're talking, but that's what we're talking about. Mm-hmm. So I have to physically change those neural pathways and find new ways of doing things that is not the efficient way for my brain to say, you're tired, you're worn out, sit on the couch and watch TV because that is what you've been doing and that's efficient for you. I need to change that. And that's going to be a little bit tougher for the first, you know, however long, but it's like, I'm excited to form that neuro pathway, that new way of doing things that revitalize me and make me feel rested, but not drowning the world out by watching mindless TV.
Well, yeah, and I think it's also important to note too that, you know, trusting yourself enough, ourself enough to know that that's not actually who you are at all. Like, we're not lazy people. We are productive people. We take care of ourselves. Like, we are driven. We are passionate. We are creative. We love that. Like, that is who we are. And so it's not like you have to recreate who you are. It's just about getting back on course with what makes you feel good, right? And like when we were talking about in the gym, being comfortable, right? We always talk about getting out of your comfort zone. And we were like, we've been so comfortable that you have to really get yourself into a level of discomfort by pushing yourself, by doing something new, doing something different. And if you want to go to that next level, then you have to get uncomfortable. So with the example of the gym, if I'm doing, you know, bicep curls and I always do 15 pounds, well, I'm going to feel great. And that's, you know, whatever. I feel great. I'm in the gym. I'm working out. But if I really want to be stronger and go to my next level, well, then I need to up it to 20 pounds. And maybe that's really hard and I feel uncomfortable and I can only do a couple of reps. But I'm in that discomfort that's helping me grow and get to my next level and signaling to my muscles that I'm ready to go big. I'm ready to go to like the next step. And so the next time I do it, I'll be more prepared because I'll know what that feels like.
Right.
And that takes getting out of your comfort zone and pushing yourself a little bit of like, does that make sense?
No, totally.
What I'm saying? I don't know if it does.
Totally. I think it has that connection both mentally and physically, right? Because your muscles are saying, oh, she's going to pick up 20 pounds. I need to respond. So they're going to start building ways to do that. And your mind says, I know 20s are going to be hard, but I'm willing to put in that hard work to create that, to then, you know, do 4 reps next time, then 6 reps, then 8 reps, and then you can either step it up from there. But it's about pushing yourself. If you just stay stagnant with the 15s, there's no growth both physically and mentally.
Right.
If that's what you want to do.
Right. And so when we're talking about a rut specifically of like a pattern you've created where you kind of feel in a funk and it's not normally what you do or what you want to do, then it's about asking yourself what's up and what's going on, and even just doing something small to try to pivot out of it, right? So going to the gym once, even though you're not going to be able to go 4 or 5 times that week because you have things going on, go that one time. You know?
Yeah.
Or like in a relationship, like if you're feeling kind of in a rut with your partner, it's like just putting in a little bit of thought to maybe plan something that's a little different, you know? And over time, those small choices to kind of wean yourself off and get yourself to another level add up, and then that starts to become your new normal, right? So like for us, watching TV, there's nothing wrong with watching TV. I like watching TV, but we know that we need to kind of break this cycle. And if we want to watch like a movie on a Sunday, great. But we're going to have to wean ourselves off of wanting to just like after dinner, go to the couch and zone out, even though that's what we want to do.
Right.
So we're going to have to consciously choose, nope, instead, let's listen to this book. Instead, let's talk. Instead, let's read whatever, like whatever we want to do. But we're going to have to kind of fight the urge of what feels normal and easy for us.
Well, totally. And I think actually bringing it to the surface, you're able to think about it. Because right now, like I said, you were just talking, and it was like, this is that urge. Like I was feeling the urge to be like, okay, we're done with this podcast. Let's just take a moment, because guess what? We've done something to take a step forward, right? We got our podcast out. That's what we wanted to get done. We got that done. Now that is a victory for the day, and now I can just rest and relax on the couch and watch TV because we were productive today. And like changing that mindset of like, no, like I actually have a lot more things I want to do, and I would like to get so-and-so done before I reward myself with some sort of relaxing behavior. But it's not just turn on the TV and see what's there, because that's been my go-to for 14 weeks.
I think it's really just been the past month. I don't think like, to me...
Not for me.
Okay, I guess for myself, it's been like the past month, maybe like 3 weeks that I feel like I've really kind of checked out at night. But again, I don't know, like as I'm listening to this, it's just like, I don't know how I feel about it. Because I also don't feel like you always need to be productive all the time. That's not the point of what we're trying to say. Like, I don't think you always need to be productive and performing and blah, blah, blah. That's not, it's just, I know that when I'm reading a book, I'm not performing, right? When I'm, just in the room, like doing my own thing, I'm not like working. So it's not that you always need to be like working or doing something that's stimulating to like, it's just, I think it's just the point that we all know what our kind of triggers are. And for me, when I find myself watching a lot of TV and zoning out, I don't feel good. So it's not that I should be being productive right now, but it's just like there's other things that I like to do that feel better to me, even though I'm relaxing, even though I'm, checked out. It's in a way that feels more like soul fulfilling than just watching reality TV.
No, I agree with you, and I'm glad you brought that up, because I've actually always felt differently towards that I just felt like watching TV for me is relaxing. But what I have felt like is I've taken that to the extreme, and that's my view of it, of what I have been doing. And I think my actions have kind of triggered into your actions, because it's like bled into where you're like, well, fuck, he's checking out. I might as well just go lay in bed and watch my shows too. So you've kind of gotten off your pattern, because I have been really bad with that. I really have. Like, It's been a thing that I have done. And even like you said, on my days off from work, like I'm choosing to just sit on the couch and watch TV. And it's like, man, like I'm not feeling my best. Like I feel lethargic and tired all the time now. And it's like, I need to change that up. Yeah. Like, because I don't want to feel this way on my days off. I want to feel lit up and inspired and creative. And that doesn't mean, like you said, being productive 24/7. It's about just the way I want to feel going into like life and the next day and things like that. And drowning it out with TV has not been my thing. And that's our rut. And I think we're just telling our personal story, not saying that TV in general is a bad thing.
Yeah. And I think that's it. Like wrapping that up of just, if you're feeling in a place where maybe you're feeling a little bit stuck or off course, or you're kind of waiting till after the holidays to get back on track, and all of that is just giving yourself grace, being kind. There's no reason to beat yourself up. It's just noticing what's going on and making a plan to try to pivot out of it, even if it's a small pivot. It doesn't have to be go big or go home, which is usually how you and I do things. It's like go big or go home, like all in or all out, checked out or fully focused. And it doesn't always have to be like that, right?
Yeah.
You can just make one small little step to try to get yourself into a place of feeling better. And I think that's the thing. When you notice that you're not feeling your best for whatever reason, that's where you check in and take notice, whatever that is for you. And then figure out what you need to do to feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
And that was the point,
Totally.
Not feeling our best, what's going on? Okay, what do we need to do to kind of bring ourselves back to feeling our best? Because that is who we are and how we like to feel. And it's okay to go through Ruts. It's okay to lay on the couch and watch TV all day and relax. You're also on break. Like, you've been working your ass off for 14 weeks. You're off work this week. And so it is that line of like, I kind of just want to relax a little bit. So there's nothing wrong with that. But when you're noticing that it's becoming more of a pattern of I'm zoning out to disconnect from something that, I love and want to be a part of, but I feel like I don't have the energy to give, or I feel so overwhelmed with where to begin because I feel so disconnected from everything, that's where it starts to take, you need to take notice of that.
Beautifully
and that's
said.
really it.
Beautifully said.
Okay. I think that's it, man.
Yeah, I'm just going to blame Mimi, though. She's a bad example of what I want to be doing, and it's just like in my face all the time.
Well, and Mimi loves a good nap. She wakes up to go poop and to eat and have snacks. And also...
And belly rubs.
And belly rubs, which sounds like an amazing day. It's also raining and gloomy. And
the holidays.
There is something about this time of year, and I don't know if it's just because society has taught us that, because it's become culturally acceptable that people turn off this time of year and people overeat and they don't go to the gym and they kind of just turn on their email that says I'll get back to you after the holidays. So it's become normal to check out this time.
Well, and especially in healthcare, you see a lot of times doctors' offices are closed from now until the new year.
Yeah.
And it's you just always said businesses, they could literally close their doors on after Thanksgiving or towards Christmas, the week of Christmas, and say we're not coming back until the 3rd, and nobody's banging on their door being how dare you? It's oh yeah, they're closed for the holidays, good for them.
Yeah.
Right? It's it is a cultural norm to just literally check out this time of year.
Yeah.
So I think we're falling victim to that.
I don't think it's a victim. I think it's okay. It's just...
You're right. I'm sorry. That was a poor choice of words. I was just going to basically wrap it up with okay, cool. We talked this out. What show do you want to watch?
Oh my... Yeah, we feel better now. It's that time of year. Okay, cool. Let's go watch a movie.
We've justified it. Oh, cool.
Yeah, we talked ourselves into being okay, cool. Now let's go watch a movie.
Let the rut begin, baby.
Yeah, it's fine. It's culturally acceptable. Let's go watch a movie,
Totally.
And that's okay.
I'm into that. And cuddles.
Oh, that's how you trap me. Let's just cuddle.
Let's cuddle under the blanket.
Well,
I'll give you Spider.
Yeah.
And then if I drift off, just happen to drip off.
Well, and I'm also our routine in the morning is I always when we're off together, on the weekends, I always get up before Aaron. I get up, I have my coffee, I have my alone time, and then you'll get up a little bit after me and whatever, we'll do our thing. But you always in the morning, if you want to keep me in bed, you'll just come and put your arm around me and give me a little cuddle, and I'll stay in bed with you for that cuddle.
And I actually tested out of one more snooze.
This
and
morning,
then sometimes those snoozes get turned off, and then it becomes the best.
And then you're
winner
in your happy place.
Oh yeah. All right.
All right. On that note, we're gonna go watch a movie.
Yes, we are.
Happy holidays. We hope you guys have an amazing Christmas and just enjoying yourself, whatever that looks like right now. Give yourself grace, but also have honest conversations with yourself about where you're at, what you really want, what your priorities are, and small changes you can make to help yourself get there.
Totally. Love it.
All right, kitties.
We're out.
See you on Instagram.
Bye.